Good morning, good afternoon. Very much looking forward to today, have been for a while. Going to be 2 great days of work. There's a reason why the Patriots are here. It starts with their head football coach and the organization itself. Got so much respect for Vrabes and our relationship over the years, and we had a really good experience in 2023 when he brought his football team here, and he was one of my first calls as soon as he got the job to talk about having them come here, and a lot of familiar faces, and very much looking forward to both of our teams getting 2 days of really, really good work. This is such a critical time for our team, and I know it is for theirs as well. Did want to update you guys. We're going to hold a couple guys out of these practices. Obviously, just an update on Justin. You've seen him starting to take part in walkthroughs. He's definitely progressing and doing a great job there. And we hope to kind of reassess early next week and see if we can maybe start building on that workload. But he's been fantastic through these couple weeks, and I expect that to continue. C.J. Ham and Andrew Van Ginkel dealing with a couple different things health-wise. Want to let them settle down over the next week. I'll keep you guys updated on those. And then Harrison Smith dealing with an illness. Will not be here today. And then Levi Drake Rodriguez, a little ankle coming out of the game, small ankle thing, but we want to see what his availability looks like for the rest of the week on into the game Saturday. And then just before I take questions, have not had a chance to talk with you guys since, we put out the statement on Rondale Moore. We wanted to make sure that, we had the total eval done on that, and, he was placed on injured reserve, crushed for Rondale. All he had done since he had gotten here is do everything right and was progressing. And as I told him, we don't always have answers and things don't always need to make sense to us, but I have no doubt that Rondale will be back better than ever and be ready to continue his football journey. In addition to that, waiving Brian B.A. yesterday. They're, one of a guy that I've become so close with, and a guy that's really had, a unique journey here through his time, and really became a guy that, I really felt personally invested in and still do, which is why, the timing of the move and a lot of things to give him the best possible opportunity to continue his career and, find the right place for him, and I know he'll do that. We did sign Cam Gill, outside linebacker, and Max Tooley brought back. So you'll see those guys out today and getting comfortable with everything. And from there, I will take some questions.
Punt more, was it ACL or what exactly was
I don't want to, it was a significant knee injury, that will keep him out for definitely the 2025 season. Yeah, we're gonna, obviously Rondale was part of that. That's why he was out there, catching that punt that he did when he got hurt. We've got some other guys we want to make sure we get game reps for, in addition to the reps out here and through the next couple weeks. And we definitely want to. The punt return spot is up for grabs, and we've got some talented guys, maybe without the experience level that you would always want, but at the same time, the upside and the ability should be a really good competition. And with that third receiver spot, it's still the same thing. I think there's guys that have done some really good things all across the depth of that receiver room, and we'll continue to give guys opportunities to go make plays, and they're going to get some great work against a really good secondary the next couple days and on into the game on Saturday. Yeah, I think, we talked about coming out of Saturday as a checkpoint. I think this is another one. From a standpoint of getting 2 full days of a ton of reps for the ones. I love our plan for these 2 days. With today being a little bit more of the kind of field work and some third down, and we'll finish it off with our first 2-minute, and then tomorrow work down into the red zone and get another 2-minute to finish. But it's going to be extensive, a lot of situational, weighty down type stuff, which will be great to just see. And as I told our whole team, it still is practice, but at the same time we're playing against an opponent, and we want to see the ability to handle it all. Success, they make a play, Can we move on to the next down and just get back to doing the simple things really consistently, doing your job that you can control every single snap. And I thought the way the offense procedurally played out for the first preseason game with really all new quarterbacks was I liked the way it ran start to finish, limited penalties on Saturday, which I know I talked to you guys about. I think all that kind of stems from the composure and the ability for the quarterback to run the show, and he did a great job of that. And checkpoint 2, it should continue and just continue to see improvement, but also opportunities for learning moments that have been so critical throughout training camp and led us to where we are right now, which is feeling really good about where he's at and just continue on that training camp journey. Say that one more time. I think CD's different. I think he's really the fact that we've gotten as much work for him this early in August, and even I think his first reps might even have came before we turned into August. So we're going to be we want him to get out there. We want him to get some work, and it's CD's at the point in time in his career where I think he's in anticipation for what's out ahead, but. Ultimately, I think you can leave it. It's all good. Ultimately, not on that one. Not on that one. Your headshot's on there as a guy to look out for. But other than that, but no, CD's kind of total trust in where he's at along the process and timeline-wise and all that. I think it's important that we assess it as we go with him and the constant communication with Tyler and building up that workload, but also understanding we've got a lot of time until things get real.
Yeah, with Brian Flores, now he's back for preseason as how important is his leadership in the building and just building the program?
Yeah, I think, for me, having somebody on the defensive side like Brian it's the starting point. It's not just that he's been a former head coach. It's not just that he has total command of that side. It's also the dynamic between him and I, how we're in we build everything in total lockstep, from how we're going to do things to what our installs look like on both sides. He's a big picture thinker that is incredibly detailed and prepared every single day. And I feel so fortunate to have that type of person to lean on in that role, and beyond the scheme and the X's and O's and his ability to lead, teach, and motivate, to have that resource for me has been huge. And our dynamic, our relationship, it continues to build, and one I'm very fortunate for. Yeah, I think I'm probably the wrong guy to ask, being the head coach of a Brian Flores-led defensive team, because first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh down, there could be pressure. The rhyme and reason is there, but we're trying to play our style of defense, in regards to that. But I think that period is always a good one to get, in addition to some of the. So there's different types, right? You're going to have your normal down work where, you're going to be calling some 1st and 10. Staying on track plays where that's runs, play pass, keepers, screens, maybe some, purposeful drop back pass. But then when you're in that second down sequence, that can go one of two ways. That's a weighty down, in my opinion. They get back on track down that, you'd love to convert right there, a one play conversion and get a new set of downs. But at the same time, there's a game within that game of trying to set up the best possible third down distance that you can, and defensively it's a golden opportunity to try to activate a place to apply pressure to an offense in long yardage situations where your pass rush and coverage can marry together and potentially have an impactful down, turn the football over, create as much uncomfortableness for the other side, and that's why I think it's a good thing to practice with an organized way. We do it a lot here, and Vraves was great about it. We're going to do it both days. And then ultimately you conclude that normal down work with the 2nd and 10, and then we play out the third downs, and then you come together, and unscripted call-it periods are, those are really good for both sides, because you don't know the D&Ds. You got to play the snap out. Each one is its own. You got to respond to the down and distance. You got to play on a play clock. You got to substitutions on and off from the sideline. It's as close as we'll get in those periods to getting these guys reps Saturday in the preseason game. That's why you can really look at it as an extension of the preseason game in a lot of ways, just under a controlled environment where we can maximize the work and limit the potential of losing guys. So I think that's a great question, and it's purposeful why, Vrabes and I spent a lot of time talking about how we put these days together. That's why we're doing it with each other, because, we can have those conversations and dialogue, and then it's reflected in the opportunities we can provide our players in these days.
Last two.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, the week 2 helps. We've had really 3 weeks now since when things got going. We're through the first preseason game, so there's been enough work now where you can kind of assess what you're going to ask them to do. Obviously, there's going to be some things, unscouted looks all over the field today. This is not something where there's 10 weeks of film on both sides and we can anticipate exactly how personnel are going to be used. We can anticipate some tendencies and things like that. It is not that. So it's one where I think we're both looking for, and I don't want to speak for Vrabes, but I think we're both looking for a lot of the parts of things that they can control to consistently be to the standard that we ask, and then be able to evaluate the post-snap work to have a great understanding of where the player's at, and while we still have a nice runway here leading up to the regular season of how we then need to prepare from there. But yeah, it's something that, Drake obviously got some good experience last year. He's in a new system this year. JJ didn't have the work last year, but he's in the same system for the second year. So there's differences, but I think both organizations are really excited about the players. So it's going to be fun to watch those guys compete.
Last one.
We had some conversation. We did. We have standard rules of operation, and it's I believe a lot of the things that you're looking for from play style and what your team looks and feels like, I believe that should happen between the whistles. I believe that should happen with an understanding of the rules of engagement. Although it's two teams practicing against one another, it still is practice. They have a very similar way that they go about we're not tackling to the ground. It's a thud period when we're in the team periods. We don't want to take cheap shots. We want to stay off the quarterback. And then in regards to inevitably when any competitors are on the field, there's going to be a bunch of, whether it's one-on-ones, team periods, whatever, there's going to be a bunch of times today where things push to that line, and then it's on the leadership of your team and the discipline of your team to show up in those moments and not let it get to a place where it could impact guys and whether they play or not in the game, whether they get to finish practice or not. As critical as these reps are, we better not be willing to throw it away, out of an emotion of a single play or a single response to anything. Just line up and snap the ball and let's get some work. If you're truly a team that wants to go where I think both these teams wants to go, you should be able to go beyond that and focus on what really matters in these 2 days. Very easy to say right here at the podium. Let's see how these 2 days go. But I do know the leadership of both teams, coaching staffs, and the head coaches. We've got a great plan and we're great understanding of how we want these 2 days to go, and we're going to operate accordingly.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Go ahead, Don.
What step do you need to see from the backups? You know Jamie's got to get his reps, but do you have a certain level?
The quarterbacks are all backups. Yeah, I think it's a lot of the same things. It's a lot of the same things. They won't. There's not the reps, as you guys will see, are tied directly to a lot of the first team guys, and it's built that way because of how we're going to handle the game and all that stuff. But they're still going to get opportunities, and they've got to go in and do what they are trying to do every single day, which is the same things all quarterbacks should be attempting to do, which is step into the huddle, command the huddle, have total ownership at the line of scrimmage pre-snap, and then how much of that can you carry over to doing your job post-snap consistently over and over and over again. I talk to these guys a lot about my personal journey of getting in there and every shot play I was throwing it deep. Every third down I was throwing it into tight windows, and trying to win the Super Bowl on one particular play today is not what I recommend for those guys, other than continue to do your job, make great decisions, put the ball in play, and see how many times you can stack good plays together.